Welcome everyone to Father, Son, and Holy Football Weekly NFL Show. I'm G-Man. That there is Team Money next to me, coming to you live this time. The July 29 action-packed NFL show, keeping you in the know around the NFL. We open up the season Thursday night. Team Money, first preseason game, Hall of Fame game, Detroit and the Chargers. How you feeling about that?
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Last time till after the Super Bowl, there's no football during the weeks. So this is great. This is great. Preseason is better than nothing. You could throw it on in the background, get to know maybe some of these second, third stringers. So it's exciting.
Well, hey, should be interesting. A couple of notes, get your reaction to on that game coming up, Team Money. Trey Lance starting the quarterback, Trey
Yeah.
Lance. And he supposedly plays the first half. Unsuccessful runs for Trey since he was taken in that third overall pick.
Yeah.
Wow. San Fran and Dallas both failed with him, and now he's going to start this game, Team Money. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's got tons of potential. The COVID year kind of screwed him. He never got to play a full season again as a redshirt sophomore. He just never got the reps that a lot of these, top picks have. So that's kind of what, really ended up messing with him a lot in his development. He was just too raw, and that's what's happening here. Maybe Jim Harbaugh, quarterback whisperer, national champion coach, can sow some oats into this guy.
So I get the feeling you're kind of liking Chargers in the first half here, Team Money on the bet.
Uh, yeah, no, I'm not betting this. I'm not betting a preseason football game. I'm not trying to lose money. That's yeah. I don't bet on third stringers. I bet on guys I know. So as much as I do want to place a bet just to have some fun, if you ask me to place $1 on it, sure. But
Well,
I'm not putting any money on that one.
well, you make a good CEO someday with that kind
Yeah.
of thinking, Team Money. Hey, how about these guys behind me? We're going to be talking about them today, Purdy and Kittle. Looking forward to the show here. Team Money, you ready for the show here? Do us a favor, press the like and subscribe button. Help us continue to bring you the fun every season. And let's move Team Money to the Jets. Talk about the Jets. Last season, bright outlook. Aaron Rodgers is coming back from the injury, but it was not what the Jets dream, and they finished with only 5 wins. And the Jets' Aaron Rodgers experiment was a disaster. And at the end, both
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh both lose their jobs. Team Money, now they got Fields over there at Jetland. Switching teams here. Who's going to have the better season? Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields?
I think this is Justin Fields, and I think it's pretty straightforward. The Steelers wanted him. They offered him a contract, and he said no because the Jets wanted him even more. And so he clearly had a market, whereas Aaron Rodgers did not. The Jets got rid of Aaron Rodgers to bring in Justin Fields. Justin Fields looked pretty good last year before Russell Wilson took over. And if you just compare some of the overarching stats, Justin Fields had a better completion percentage. Justin in his games that he started last year, Justin Fields had a better passer rating. Justin Fields had a better touchdown to interception ratio. And he is a much better runner of the football as well, which is obvious. He's one of the best in the NFL. And now you throw him into a situation where he has his college teammate Garrett Wilson that he's throwing to. I really like this. Breece Hall at running back, that's better than what he had at Pittsburgh, and anything in Chicago. So I really like this for Justin Fields. They're kind of giving the keys here. And Aaron Rodgers, I think, is on the steep decline. So give me, I think overall, the Pittsburgh roster might be better. The defense is going to be way better. So they may win more games. I know they're projected for 8.5, and the Jets are projected for 6.5. But I wouldn't be surprised if those two things flop and the Jets end up with a okay season, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are worse off. But I think statistically, give me Justin Fields.
Wow. Well, that's interesting, Team Money. I agree with part of what you said, but I don't know if I'm totally bought in there. Only because of the teams. I think the teams make a big difference here.
Yeah.
Why with Justin Fields on that Steelers team? The Steelers are going to be in the hunt. And Aaron Rodgers, you say, who's going to have the better season? Justin Fields might have some better stats, but Aaron Rodgers could lead that team to a playoff berth. And when you look back, will that be successful? Justin Fields racking up definitely the rushing yards, but Aaron Rodgers might have the better result in terms of their division and being in contention.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't hate that observation. Like, I think that they might win more games, but I don't think like I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is better than Russell Wilson, and they couldn't really do much last year. And Russell Wilson was winning a lot of games until the end of the season, and so it's kind of a catch-22. Like they feel like empty calorie wins to me. Just because Pittsburgh, a good organization, well run, strong defense, TJ Watt, all these guys. So I think I don't really look at it as much as who's going to win more games, because I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers will make the playoffs anyways.
Yeah, yeah, they'll be in the hunt. They got that tradition of winning.
Yeah.
Uh, Aaron Rodgers' stats weren't that bad. I was just looking at his yard. He threw for almost 4,000 yards. Justin Fields only threw for 1,000,
Well,
and
yeah.
he had 28 touchdowns to Justin Fields' five.
You
But he also
can't
had
look.
11. He also had 11 interceptions.
Yeah, yeah, and you can't look at that. Fields was benched halfway through the year, so he didn't get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
complete a full season. So
yeah. I like a late round pick in the fantasy. I
love
would go
that,
Fields over Rodgers late
hundred
rounds.
percent.
Do you agree with
Justin
that? Yeah.
Fields has been a top 5 quarterback, top 6 quarterback in fantasy football. He has the ceiling to do that. So it
Yeah.
all is going to come down to Aaron Glenn and this new coaching staff. And I love Aaron Glenn. I really like what I've seen from him. So
Hey,
I like the Jets a little bit.
usually you don't like when DCs take over the head reins, T Money. Now you like this
Well,
DC.
the Jets just needed an adult in the room. That's what they
Yeah.
needed.
Yes.
So I don't hate it because of that.
Well, hey, both of these guys have something to prove. They're going to look back at this season right here and say, "Did I do it?" They
Yeah,
both have something to prove here. All
big
right,
time.
hey, let's go to the Cleveland Browns. The guys in that same Steeler division. The Browns currently facing a quarterback competition. One of the most unusual, where you have four guys competing for the starting job. Really odd here to see that. What do you think about the starting assignment, Team Money? Should the Browns start Flacco or one of the rookies?
Yeah, I mean, this is something I'll never really understand about, how pro football works. I know you're in camp and you're watching these guys and you're thinking, Joe Flacco looks better than our rookie quarterback that we invested draft capital in. But going with a guy that for sure will not win you enough games to make the playoffs versus an unknown in a rookie that has a high ceiling, a low floor variance. I'll just never understand going with the veteran who's going to win you 5 games. Right now, the Browns are projected to win 5.5 games this season, and I think they'd be lucky to get to that. Sanders does have first round talent. He dropped because of his, is off the field charisma, basically. And they drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, which isn't that low. And so, look, I think Flacco's fine. He's a fine quarterback. Like he might win a game or two by throwing 300 yards, look like him old self, and then the next game he's going to throw 4 picks. And so I just don't. This roller coaster of Joe Flacco's 40 years old and probably going to only be able to play half the season due to health. I don't understand why you can't go with the rookie. I don't care if it's Dylan Gabriel if he's outperforming Sanders in practice, but I know for sure he's not. Right now, if you look at their practice they had this week, Joe Flacco threw 6 of 9 for 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Dylan Gabriel, 8 for 12, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Kenny Pickett, zeros across the board because he's hurt. Shador Sanders, 9 for 9 completions, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks in practice this week. Shador Sanders is showing out when he gets his chances, and he hasn't even had a chance for first team reps. So I don't understand going with a guy that'll just never compute in my brain. Like, hey, let's roll out the guy we know for a fact is going to win us 4 games.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just go with the rookie, reset your timeline here. If anything, you tank even further and you get a better pick and can draft a quarterback the next year. I know the rest of the roster is probably pissed off, but your team either
Yep.
sucks or it sucks really bad, or it just might be good. And so, which outcome do you want?
Okay, Team Money's really going on this topic today. He's fired up with his father-son hat. How do you like that father-son hat, everybody? Go
Oh
get
yeah.
some merchandise at fatherson and holyfootball.com. Team Money sporting one of our hats there today. And I agree with you, Team Money. I'm with you on this one. Yes,
Yeah.
Flacco, is that he's got the experience. He knows the offense. He's proven in a certain way. It takes the pressure off the rookies. There's a lot of benefits for that. But I'm still with you, man. There's arguments for the rookie to start too. Just you brought a lot of them up.
Yeah.
So let's get him out there. Here's the thing. Flacco is an awesome backup. Keep him in that role. Why
Yeah.
put him out there? If he gets injured, that's a big hole for the team. So why not
Yeah.
keep him as the backup? He's a solid backup, one of the best backups, and keep him as a backup. Let those two guys. Dylan Gabriel, remember, was the higher draft pick over Sanders. People think it's probably the other way around, but no, Dylan
Yeah.
Gabriel is potentially outperforming Sanders in camp, is what I've heard, and so it's a battle. Let them
Yeah.
two fight it out, man. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And then you look at like, hey, let's see, maybe Joe Flacco gets off to a hot start. Well, they play the Bengals, then the Ravens, then the Packers, then the Lions, and then they have a bye.
Yeah.
Like you could be 0 and 4 very easily. There's no easy wins there. If the Bengals is your easiest win, that is not an easy win. You're not going to have the offense to keep up with them. Your next closest easy win is October 26th versus the Patriots or November 9th versus the Jets. So I just think, assuming you're going to be in a great position with Joe Flacco right out of the gate isn't necessarily true. So don't be surprised if week 6 after the bye, after they start 0 and 4, 1 and 3, that they throw out a rookie there. Joe Flacco might only get 4 starts. Their bye's really early, so just be aware that this could come quicker than people think.
Hey, do y'all want more entertaining father-son NFL camaraderie to keep the NFL buzz going? We got you covered here with our positivity and our knowledge. Do us a favor, press the like and subscribe button. Help us continue to bring you the fun every week. Thanks to our show sponsor, Blue Tees Golf. Go to blueteesgolf.com. Get some high-quality golf products. Pick up your golf game. How's your golf game doing, everybody? Enter coupon code FSHS. Get a 10% discount, T Money. All right, let's move to running backs. T and G Man, former running backs ourselves in the day. T.
Yeah, that's right.
And we want to talk about some of these top running backs and what they're going to do this year. But let's look at one of the rookies, Ashton Jeanty. What's he going to do here for the Raiders, T Money? Is he a top 5 running back immediately?
Oh, this is interesting. I think there's different definitions. And if you're telling me top 5 by statistics and fantasy, he could
Ah,
be. He could be. Rookie running backs tend to pop if they're that level elite right away, right? And he is going to be the bell cow of that Raiders offense. Pete Carroll loves to run the ball. Like, I will not be surprised if this guy finishes top 5 in the league. But efficiency wise and on a per touch basis, do I think he's already going to be a top 5 guy in the league? I'm a little skeptical. This guy has not faced this level of competition, and this isn't just a jump from SEC to NFL. This is from the Mountain West to the NFL. And so I think there's a big jump in talent that he's going to see, the size of people, the speed of people that he is not used to. And on top of that, he's actually one of the smaller running backs to ever come out. We think of Devon Achane
he
as an
is.
injury risk because
Yeah,
he's tiny. Devon
yeah,
Achane is taller and bigger than Ashton Jeanty. There's some bigger running backs out there, the Bijan Robinsons, Jameer Gibbs. Then you go to
right.
like the Chase Browns. Chase Brown looks small and he's bigger than Ashton Jeanty. So a 5'8" running back going in the first round is not typical. And so this
Oh,
guy is a big uphill battle to
can
climb here, actually. So talent wise, I'm not sure. Like you tell me he's better than Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, even Alvin Kamara as a pass catcher, Christian McCaffrey when healthy. I don't know if he's a top 5 guy. I think he's a top 10 guy right now, but I just think top 5 is pushing it a little bit. I need to see it to say top 5. Maybe he comes out balling week 1 and I'll eat my words, but
yeah,
Derrick Henry, I would take over Ashton Jeanty right now if I was one game on the line. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
on a season basis, because of volume, because he's a rookie, he can take the hits. I think he will be potentially a top five fantasy asset, but I do not think he's a top five talent just yet in the NFL. There's a lot of great running backs that are proven out there, and I don't think he's going to scratch that right away. Like I said, he's in for a potential uphill battle, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that for the most part. What you're saying, Team Money, I think you're on it. Can this guy be a bell cow? Or is he going to be first, second down? He's not big enough to be a bell cow, or it doesn't appear to be. We will see if he can do the bell
Yeah,
cow in the NFL at that level. But he is projected right now to be the fifth in terms of rushing yardage, projected for 1,227 yards. Only 13 players projected over 1,000. He's one of them. He's up at number 5 behind Barkley, JT, Derrick Henry, and Bijan. But when you look at all-purpose yards, he's a lot lower. He's not going to get up there in the top 5 in all-purpose yards, as you were pointing out. Last year, all-purpose yards, Barkley was number 1, Derrick Henry number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs 3. So we forget
yeah,
about Gibbs, but that passing with Gibbs, and then Josh Jacobs was 6 behind Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase 5th in all-purpose yards.
yeah,
And so you got people like Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones and Jahmyr Gibbs that get a lot of passing. So when you
yeah.
look at, is this guy number top 5? He won't be there in the top 5 in all-purpose yards for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. The Raiders love to run the rock though, so don't be surprised if he is a good fantasy asset, but reaching for that big of a, question mark, I would be hesitant on if I was a fantasy manager and, to call him top five talent in the league. It's just too many good running backs out there. So we'll see how this ends up, as we kind of kick off the season.
And I'll tell you a guy to watch out for that's not even on the list right now, and that's Mario Hampton.
Oh
Najee
yeah.
Harris is hurt. He hasn't been in training camp. He hasn't played in training camp. Mario Hampton is going to get the start over him. We're going to see Mario tomorrow night, Thursday night. So
Yep.
you're going to see him in action. He could have that full whole backfield himself.
Now that is a volume and an efficient runner. I like Omarion Hampton a lot. He's got the size, the ability, and he's in the right system. Watch out for
Yeah.
him.
He could be the number 1 rookie. Hey, let's
Yeah.
go on to talk about these guys behind us and Brock Purdy and the 49ers. They lose Debo. Debo's out there in Washington now, and I understand he's looking good out there in Washington. So Debo's settled into his new spot, and Ayuk's still coming back. And Brock Purdy still it continues as a strong fantasy player. QB 10, QB 6 over the last 2 seasons, but the 49ers team, just with all the injuries, only 6 wins last year, last place in the NFC West. Can Purdy and the 49ers have a bounce back year, Team Money?
I'm a little skeptical. I am
Yeah.
a little skeptical of this team going in. Purdy has dropped a little bit as far as statistics these past few years. He had a great 2023 when he was in the MVP candidate running, and he looked like he was going to be a franchise quarterback moving forward. He had 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns. And then you see some cracks when Ayuk goes down and Christian McCaffrey goes down and the defense isn't as dominant. And he has 3,800 yards and he has 20 touchdowns and 12 picks. A passer rating of 96 when he had 113 the year before when everything was perfect and Christian McCaffrey was one of the best players in the NFL. And so his QBR drops from 73 to 67. I just think you look at his potential this year. Jawan Jennings is mad he doesn't have a new contract, and he's probably a 3 more than he's in a 1 or 2. Ricky Pearsall, he's a rookie, got shot last year for God's sakes, and he has, I believe, a potential ankle injury. And then Brandon Ayuk is way behind in his progression from his ACL, so he may not even start the year playing on the team. And Deebo Samuel's traded. Christian McCaffrey's and George Kittle are massive injury risks. The offensive line is a question. The defense will not be as dominant, so he will be on the field more, needing to pass. I just think there's a lot of factors going into this. They lost a lot of guys in free agency. I do not think he has a bounce back year. I think what we saw last year in 2024 is a lot more like what we're going to see for him than the 2023 Brock Purdy in the perfect position with the perfect teammates, with the best running back and the best tight end and amazing receivers and perfect play calling and a dominant defense. I just think everything happened perfectly, clicked at the right time. This seems to me that the Brock Purdy I know will be the 2024 Brock Purdy way. He's fine. He's going to probably get you to the playoffs, but I don't see anything more than, maybe Kirk Cousins, maybe Dak Prescott at his peak.
Yeah,
So
they definitely need Christian McCaffrey to get this offense moving. This offense moves when McCaffrey's on the field, and they get him out there. He can do. Purdy can lead that offense. Kittle is an animal. The guy's one of the best top three in the league at tight end. He had 1,100 yards last year during the regular season,
yeah, he's a
eight
beast.
touchdowns. The guy's a stud. So he can get him the ball, and if Christian McCaffrey's there, he can do well too. What's interesting is the pass completions last year. Brock Purdy was 18th in the league in completions, and even less, not even in the top 20 in attempts, pass attempts. But his yards were number three. The guy gets big plays, and that's Kittle and McCaffrey running
Yeah.
big plays, getting a lot of yardage per attempt out of that team. It's an interesting thing. I think Purdy's going to come back this year. I think they're going to, it's hard to believe that they're going to be in last place in that NFC West. What do you think about that? I mean, if they get, I think they got to be in contention this year.
Well, I think a lot of people are counting on McCaffrey or Kittle to be injured and Brandon Ayuk to come back slow. And so if that's your best receiver, your best tight end, and best running back, all question marks, well, then, yeah, I don't know if Purdy can carry them to 8 wins. But if everything clicks, they're projected for 10.5 wins. So Vegas
Yeah.
likes them to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So
That's my
I
point.
don't. Yeah, I think it's a health question, and
Yeah.
I don't know if Brock Purdy can lead them there. And
That's,
I think the Niners have a bounce back year. They don't win 6 games, but I don't think they're going to win 11 or 12. I don't think they're going to be as dominant as they were. They have had a top 5 defense every time this team has made a Super Bowl run. So, and they're not going to have that this year. They lost a lot of free agents. Hufunga and Ward and Greenlaw. All those guys are gone now, and their depth is really scary. So we'll see with the defense, and I think that will impact the offense as well.
I agree. That's true. And hey, Brock, get the ball to Georgie, man. Georgie's gonna do it for you, Brock. Just throw him the ball. The guy's an animal, baby.
Yes.
Hey, that's it for today's show. We'll be adding a fantasy segment next week. Get ready for us to help you win your fantasy league. We start next week adding fantasy to this show. So come back next week. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. We hope you had fun hanging out with us. Father Son Football loves bringing you the energy on behalf of Team Money. I'm G-Man. See you next week.
Peace.